This is my plan to grow my Instagram account this summer. Fellow creators, I am pleased to present my updated Instagram strategy for the summer of 2022. Here's the deal. If you watched my recent Instagram Insights report video, which by the way, I make those every month, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them, then you'll know that my current Instagram strategy as described in this video is working, well, fine. I think that another, more fresh approach may be in order. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the brand new Instagram strategy that I've been plotting, based on how my content's been performing lately, but also based on my desired work-life balance and creative process for this summer. Because ultimately, I really do believe that your content strategy shouldn't just be based on the content that you can make that is most optimized for growth, but it should also be based on what you enjoy making, how you feel creative, and also how much time you realistically have to spend on Instagram. Because sure, I guess we could all be aiming towards making like 3 reels a day or whatever, but that's just not realistic for most of us. So we need to find that intersection between what's going to work well in the algorithm, what we enjoy making, and also what works within our current lifestyle. So with all of that in mind, let's get into my Instagram content strategy for the summer of 2022. P.S. Let me know in the comments what your goals are for Instagram this summer, because I'd love to hear what you're working on and how I can help. Also, I know I'm not normally a hat girl, but what do we think? I've been in the desert for several weeks now, so I felt like it was time that I got myself a hat like this. So we need to start by establishing exactly what my goals are for my Instagram this summer. We don't want to just go changing our Instagram strategies willy-nilly. There needs to be a reason behind it. Now, while my results are still pretty good with my current strategy, I did see a little bit of a dip in my results in March. February was really my best month for growth. I almost gained about 2,000 new followers in February, and in March I gained just over 1,000. And when you take that into consideration with the fact that February is a shorter month and I actually posted less because there was less days, it kind of feels like I'm getting sort of lackluster results lately. But I do want to emphasize that just 1 month of slightly less great results, not even bad results, is not a reason on its own that you should be changing your Instagram strategy, and it's not for me either. There's also some other areas that I want to improve upon and change just because I like experimenting, I like to be creative, and I also think that going to the summer, a lot of us want to spend a little less time working if we can, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. So here's the 3 areas that I really want to change when it comes to my Instagram strategy, and then I'm going to talk you through what that actually is going to mean in terms of my content plan. My first goal is that I want to have more time to actually engage with my community. What I'm really missing on Instagram these past few months is that community feel, those conversations that I used to have in my DMs and in my comments, and really part of the reason why that's not happening is because I'm spending so much of my time on creating that I don't have as much time on communicating. Every day I'm just blasting out content and it's getting some comments and I'm getting some story replies, but I don't have the time to really go and have those in-depth conversations that I love to have. So I want to shift my priorities a little bit to spend less time on creating and more time on engaging if I can. My second goal is I want to feel more creative with my content. I'm really proud of how consistent I've been. I've been posting pretty much every weekday since January. And there is a high likelihood that I'm going to return to my content batching system that I've been doing, which video linked up here on how I batch my content in the van if you're curious. I'm sure I'll return to that in the fall or sometime in the future, but I kind of want to try out a different method for a while. Especially as I've been working away at getting my marketing agency, Creatorly Media, more stable and kind of more self-sustaining, I have a little bit more time to be creative and spend more time focusing on my content. So I want to be able to approach content creation in a slightly more timely manner, at least for a little while, to see how it goes, maybe batching a week of content at a time instead of a month at a time. I think this will allow me to speak to more kind of timely, like current events or Instagram news, but it'll also let me be a little bit more creative and not just work on this kind of assembly line style of like, let's batch 30 reels at once or whatever. And the third goal that I have for the summer is to have a little bit more work-life balance. I mean, going into the summer, who doesn't want to work less? Am I right? I'd love to work towards more of like a part-time sort of schedule, but even as I say that, you know, your girl's probably not gonna do that. But I also kind of feel like my community is going to be spending less time on their phones over the summer, or at least I hope that for all of us, that we can spend more time outside in the real world and less time in our little rectangular boxes. So I think it just makes sense to kind of balance out my strategy again to account for the fact that in the summer, a lot of us are trying to spend less time on social media. And of course, I'd like to accomplish all of these goals and still see continued growth, if that's not too much to ask. I'm still reaching for a 30K. Editing Katie update. Y'all, I actually reached it. You can't see this at all, but I hit 30K since I filmed this video, so thanks. But you know, vanity metrics are not what we're aiming for. I hesitate to even set a goal of how many followers I want by the fall because I think that's just a great way to set yourself up for disappointment because it can be kind of hard to control. And exact perfect round numbers don't really mean anything anyway. But I would really like to focus on continuing to steadily grow my audience and nurture my existing followers because I might just have an exciting launch in the works for the fall. So stay tuned if you want to know more about that. And I just want to make sure that my Instagram community is ready for it. Okay, so with those goals in mind, let's talk about what the new strategy is going to look like. Currently, I've been working on a pretty regular pattern of 5 posts a week, so once every weekday, and normally that looks like 3 reels, 1 graphic carousel post that's a little bit more in-depth, more informative, and then 1 carousel that's photos of me with a longer caption. Now, I really want to, with this new strategy, focus on quality over quantity. I want to try to create not just the really easy trend-focused reels that I can bang out in like 15 minutes during a batching session. I want to be able to focus on more creative, out-of-the-box reels ideas that I think have the potential to really go viral. You know, like my typical reels that I make that are just like your trending audios or your quick like pointing around. Sure, I can get like a solid 5,000, 8,000, sometimes even 10,000 views on those, but I would really like to aim for some bangers that could maybe reach an even higher number than just my audience. Like if I could be getting over 30,000 views on a reel, I would see that as a massive success because even though currently the views that my reels are getting, they're not all just my existing followers. Actually, most of the time it's more so new people. But I just really want to aim for being able to post maybe less reels, but more effective reels, if that makes sense. So like right now, if I'm posting 3 reels in a week and each of them get 5,000 views, that's 15,000 reel views in 1 week. But if I could post 1 really highly effective, viral worthy reel that would get like 30,000 views, you know, that's more bang for your buck kind of thing. There's a few examples that I really look to for inspiration, including Tina Lee, who's a creator friend of mine. She makes really high quality, really beautiful storytelling reels that inspire me a lot, and I'd love to create something on that kind of level of quality. I also think Karen Chang is a super cool creator, and she definitely makes viral worthy reels. Like this one in particular, I think is super fun. She makes a lot of like creator photo video hacks type of videos, and I feel like my tutorials have been successful in the past. If I could just put a little bit more effort into being even more creative and innovative with some of my tutorial reels, I could see, you know, maybe not similar results on the level of like 1 million views, but you know, better than what I'm getting now. Another creator on Instagram that I really admire and I love her style of reels is from a van life account called Court and Nate. Fun fact, our van layout was based on their van build guide, so I admire them a lot. But I think Courtney does a really, really great job of making high quality and aesthetic, but also very interesting day in the life reels. And I think as I continue to try to work towards including more like content creator / like entrepreneur lifestyle content into my brand, I think it'd be fun to make those style of reels. So I think this might be something that I also experiment with. I think if I have a ton of inspiration in a given week, then I might end up making more than just 1 reel, but I want to try to aim for putting the time and effort that I would normally put into 3 different reels into 1 reel. And then I'm hoping that might give me some better results, or at least be more creative or more fun. So that's kind of the Reels side of it. I definitely want to continue with my graphic carousels and my photos of me because those have also been really effective for me. And again, I think it's just a matter of really taking the time to be intentional and putting effort into the quality over quantity approach. So let's talk more about carousels for a second. Like I said, I've been having some really good results with my carousels, and in fact, these graphic informational style of posts have been driving the most followers out of all of my feed content. So I really want to give myself the time each week to create some really high quality and timely carousels giving advice about social media growth, because I find these especially do better when they are speaking to something that is recent. And by switching my batching approach to weekly instead of monthly, I'll allow myself to be more timely. Again, I don't want to change this up too much because it has been going really well for me, but I think by giving myself more time to do one really high quality thought out carousel each week, I think I'll see really good results from that. One method that I think I'm going to use for coming up with ideas is I'm going to continue to keep a sort of list or a backlog of ideas, especially for carousels, so that I don't have to spend a ton of time starting from scratch researching each week. But of course, I like to keep my eye on the latest trends and news because that's going to be important too. That's the whole point of staying up to date. Now to speak to the photos portion just a little bit, I'm really excited about this actually because one of the things that I enjoy the most about my content creation on Instagram is doing photo shoots. As you would have seen if you watched this video of mine, I love to do self-portraits, so I like to take my own photos by setting up my camera on a tripod and kind of planning out a whole concept and look for a shoot. I just find it really fun, and it's very different than what I do in my normal day-to-day work over at Creatorly or even for this YouTube channel. It's just kind of like a different type of creativity. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to set aside some time each week to shoot those kind of photos. And I've actually found like surprisingly good results from this type of content too. Honestly, I thought that photos were on the way out and I was like really focusing hardcore into reels, especially in January and February. But then as I started to sprinkle in a few more like editorial style shoots, like this photo for example, I saw really good results with that. And I've started to notice that these types of creative, high quality photos of me paired with a caption that might be about Instagram growth or might be some kind of encouraging message about the content creator journey, those seem to do really well. Which is great because it means that not only does this perform well in the algorithm, but I also really like to do it, so it's a match made in heaven. So that kind of summarizes my approach to reels. Generally quality over quantity, a little bit more creative. Carousels, continuing to focus on being really informative and educational, but also a little bit more timely. And finally, photos, again, bringing out that creative side and sharing some more encouragement in the caption. One kind of bonus section to this new content approach is also Instagram Lives. I have not done an Instagram Live at all yet in 2022, I don't think. And I used to do them more often, and I think that this maybe ties in more to my goal around engaging more. I really love that more personal connection that Instagram Lives offer, so I want to try to do that more often again. I feel torn on this one though, because I feel like it would be good for me to have a regular schedule where I would say like every Wednesday at X time I'm gonna do an Instagram Live, but just with like van life especially, and also I have no idea what my daily schedule is going to look like once I get home. It's hard to commit to a certain time, but I worry being really like erratic with it isn't going to be effective either. So I'm just sort of torn about how I would approach this, but I think it would be fun to do more lives. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, it's the summer. People are on their phones less. Like I definitely wouldn't want to do like a Friday kind of a regular schedule because I feel like that's when people are away. Or even Mondays, there's a lot of holidays in the summer, so as you can see, I'm still working through this one and trying to figure out what would be best, but I do think it would be really fun to do more Instagram Lives again. So stay tuned to see how I end up approaching that. So to wrap this all up, I'm really excited to see how this goes. I want to emphasize again that the results that I talked about in my most recent Insights report are not discouraging, and if you're seeing those results or maybe even not as great a results, don't feel like that necessarily means that you need to do a 180 on your content strategy. The reason why I'm changing things up is because I want to have a different work-life balance. I want to not have to batch like 25 posts in 1 week and work way ahead on stuff that I think could be done in a more fun and creative way if I do it in a more timely fashion. And it's just been a really long time since I've done sort of week-to-week batching, so I want to try it out. And I will let you know how it goes because like I said, I might return to my monthly content creation style in the fall. Curious to see how it goes. I'm also going to be pairing this new Instagram strategy with a slightly different approach here on YouTube, which subscribe so you can see those future videos. As you may have noticed, I've been posting Instagram strategy or social media strategy videos every Tuesday and Friday on my channel since January. But going into the summer, I want to try continuing with my Tuesday and Friday schedule and still giving you these Instagram strategy videos every Friday, but maybe on Tuesdays bringing in a more lifestyle aspect, so showing you my content creation routine or a work week in my life. those kinds of things. So still focusing on what it's like to be a content creator or an entrepreneur, but kind of bringing you into my daily routines a little bit more. So let me know if that sounds interesting to you. I think it could be fun, but let me know what content you might like to see from me through the summer. Really, when it comes down to it, Instagram and our Instagram strategies is all just one big experiment, continuing to try to find that balance that I was talking about at the beginning of the video between what the algorithm likes, what we find fun to create, and then also what we have time for in our routines. So I will definitely be reporting back to you on how all of this goes in a future insights report, so make sure you subscribe. And if this sounds like a strategy that might work well for you in those 3 different areas of your life, then go ahead and give it a go, and I'd be curious to hear how it works for you too. If you found this video interesting and you want to know more about how I batch my content and create it in advance, you can check out this video of how I batch a month's worth of content throughout a week living in my van. So go click on that. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!